Stampers, this is Amy Barnes with inkstampspaper.com. Today I am going to share with you the basics of heat embossing. So heat embossing is a great technique that gives you a metallic, shimmery, raised image, and it's created using Stamp and Emboss powder. So this Stamp and Emboss powder comes in a small container. A little bit goes a long ways, and what it is it's really fine bits of plastic, like ground up bits of plastic, and those bits melt using the heat tool and create that beautiful shimmery look. So this gold embossing powder looks just kind of dark and bland, but when it heat embosses, it's going to be gorgeous. So let's go ahead and go through what we need. We need stamps, Versamark ink, which is a ink that's a little bit sticky, so it takes a little bit of time to dry, and that'll hold the embossing powder. And you need your cardstock. So today I'm going to use the Beautiful Autumn stamp set. I'm going to use a greeting and a image from that. So the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and ink up your image with your Versamark and stamp it. I'm probably going to punch this out later to use on another project. And you'll see that thank you is just a watermarked image. It's just slightly darker. I'm going to set my Versamark out of the way so that I don't get ink all over it. You're going to cover that entire image really well with your embossing powder, so it's completely covered. And then you're going to take and put the excess back into your container and give your paper a little flick to get off the extra. If you see any little bits of embossing powder, you can use a brush or your finger to just kind of get them out of the way, because you don't want them to heat onto there. And then we're going to zoom in a little bit for the heating portion of this. You're going to use the heat tool. This does get very hot on the end, so you don't want to touch it, and it will get loud for just a minute while we're doing this. But I'm going to hold it at an angle a couple of inches away from the powder and the paper, because I don't want to burn the paper. And I'm going to hold my fingers out of the way so I also don't burn them. But the tool itself, like the main part of it, doesn't really get hot, but the tip here does, so you don't want to touch that. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on. And what we're looking for is for the powder to change from a powder that's kind of matte and not that pretty to a nice shimmery finish that's metallic. And so when it does that, then you know that it's embossed and you want to stop so it doesn't over emboss and actually melt that into the paper, and then you lose your embossed image and can burn your paper also. So I'm going to keep it moving. You see how nice and quick that went? Wasn't that beautiful? You get that nice shimmery metallic finish, and it dries very quickly as soon as it cools, and so you can touch it, and it's raised, so you can feel that impression of it on there. And we're going to do the same thing with our image. We're going to stamp it with Versamark, and I'm just going to do maybe one each direction just for fun. Like a little, I don't know how pretty this will look, but you'll get the idea. So we're going to stamp it like that. And we want to do this fairly quickly. We don't have to be in a big rush, but we do want to set our Versamark pad away because we don't want to get it covered with embossing powder. I'm going to go ahead and fully cover our stamped image with the powder. And you put a lot on there, and then just dump the excess back into your container. Give it a little flick. And like here, I've got a little bit of embossing powder stuck there. I'm just going to use my finger to get rid of it. You can also give it a little tap on the back of the paper like that to loosen any that's stuck where you don't want it. Like that. So once you have it nice and cleaned up and ready to go, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to set it down, turn on your heat tool, emboss. And now you've got this beautiful, detailed, stamped image. And because Stampin' Up! Uses a really fine embossing powder, you can get these detailed images that still hold their design even when they're embossed, rather than being like heavy and blotchy. You know, still keep a nice detailed image. You know, easily read the words that are there. And this is one of my favorite techniques. It's like magic every time it happens. And with heat embossing, you can use it for a number of other techniques as well, like resist techniques, coloring inside of it once you've embossed it, even coloring the embossing powder itself. So there's lots of different techniques you can build off of this basic embossing. But just as a quick reminder, what you'll need is you will need your Versamark, you'll need embossing powder, heat tool, and stamps. So if you have those few items, you are ready to heat emboss. And you can do a lot of different types of images. We also have clear heat embossing that you can do onto colored paper. Lots of different options. So it's a lot of fun to play with. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Go ahead and put them in the comments below, or contact me through my website and inkstampspaper.com. Have an awesome day.